Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Sammy. We're 4 days away from the live reveal of 0.4 in Path of Exile 2. Leading up to 0.4, we've always been told that it's finally going to be coming is the Druid class, and that 0.4 would be the Endgame rework. Well, the latest two teasers from Grinding Gear Games has fueled speculation that maybe, just maybe, we're going to get more than the Druid and the end game fix. So in this video, we're going to go over those speculations, and I'm going to throw in my ring in the hat and give you my tidbit on what I think 0.4 is going to entail. We got a lot to talk about. Let's get to it. Let's do some catch up on what we know so far. So as far as 0.4, we know the following. The actual name of the patch, the expansion, whatever you want to call it, is The Last of the Druids. And we also know that the league is also called the Fate of the Vaal League. Now, I know there's a lot of confusion out there. I've seen a lot of questions about what is the name of the league. Grinding Gear Games always does this. The Last of the Druids is the patch name, just like in 0.3, it was the Third Edict. And the Fate of the Vaal is the name of the league. So hence why it is Fate of the Vaal League. Just like it in 0.3, it was the Rise of the Abyssal League. So I hope that unmuddies the waters for some people. I know there's a lot of confusion out there on these two naming conventions. But anyway, so that is that. We also know that the live reveal is going to be on December 4th, and the 0.4 is going to go live on December 12th. So book your PTOs, ladies and gentlemen. And once again, for the second time, Grinding Gear Games has announced that there's going to be a free weekend, December 12th to the 15th, literally when everyone else starts to play 0.4. People that don't have keys will also be able to play on the weekend of the 12th to the 15th. Okay, so now that we know the name of the patch, we know the name of the league, and we know that Atziri is involved, and that spurred on a whole bunch of speculation. Let's talk about what is potentially going to be in 0.4 and kind of all this other speculation that people are throwing out there. So first of all, this is a no-brainer. The Druid is coming in 0.4. It's a strength and int build, and it specializes in shape-shifting spells and skills. Going to be very interesting to see how this pans out. And I got to admit, the Druid is not a playstyle that I usually gravitate to, but I'm probably like 99.9% of the player base. Sorry. Obviously, when new classes come out, everybody wants to try them. I'm sure this isn't going to be any different. Now we are still, so that will make 8 of the 12 classes that are in POE 2 will be in the game. That leaves us 4 still to remain. Now, in the beginning, it was always told to us by GGG that in order for them to get out of early access, they wanted to get all the classes in the game before going to 1.0, but that now has been debunked. Jonathan himself has said, you know what, if we don't get all the classes in, it's not going to stop us from getting out of early access. So I don't hold this as a barometer anymore as far as when we're going to get to 1.0. And I'm going to talk about that later on in the video, and what I think are indications of whether stuff is in 0.4, whether that is a good indication of us getting closer to getting out of early access. I am going to touch a little bit about that on this video, but we are getting the Druid class. It's going to be very interesting how this is going to play and if people are going to like it. Obviously, anytime you bring in a new class to PoE 2, comes with new skills. That is just good not only for the new class, but good for all the classes in the game. So it's going to be adding some more dimension to the classes in Path of Exile 2. So this is obviously big. A lot of people are waiting for this. Now, also, not a brainer, a no-brainer, sorry, is Endgame. This 0.4 is the Endgame rework, and it is the weakest link. I'm not saying anything that no one else is saying. Everybody agrees with this. The endgame loop needs to improve massively. Now, what that is going to be, I am very curious to see on the 4th with the live reveal what Grinding Gear Games has cooked up and what we're gonna, what we're gonna see as far as the rework for the end game. It needs a massive, massive bolt of energy because right now it's lackluster. So the towers, are they staying? Are they changing? We got a little bit of a fine tune in 0.3. Are they going to continue to fine tune them? We'll only wait and see. The Atlas tree just has no oomph in it. It doesn't do anything to the game. To be honest with you, it really adds no value. Yes, there are things that you can do in the current Atlas tree in Path of Exile 2. You can focus on strong boxes as an example in a certain section of the tree. And I know they have the specialized trees outside of the main tree, but at the end of the day, the overwhelming feeling, at least my experience, and I heard that from a lot of people that play Path of Exile 2, it just doesn't feel like there's a link. It doesn't do anything to your end game experience. It needs a massive jolt of energy, just like how the tree is in Path of Exile 1. Obviously, I don't want carbon copies of PoE 1. I want PoE 2 stuff. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens. The infinite world, this is another huge debate. Should they change it? Some people like it, some people hate it. I don't think Grinding Gear Games is going to take their foot off the gas and change strategies on the infinite world design. I personally think that it's workable, just not in its current state. I think they need to really, really put mechanics in the end game world to just make it more exciting. And like I say here, give the game purpose, the end game purpose, make the end game fun. Right now, there's the chasing. There's no chasing. There's no strategy as far as I'm concerned. So I don't think they need to change the infinite world. I just think they need to improve it. And juicing is huge in Path of Exile. I don't have the same feeling in PoE 2. So there's some sort of thing that they need to do to the end game to provide that to the player base. And I think adding purpose to the end game, and I know that's a motherhood statement, but making it fun and giving the end game purpose through these other items that I talked about, I think is hopefully what they're going to do. And the good news is, like I say here, 0.4 is the end game patch. So let's hope it delivers. And will there be new pinnacle bosses? I say yes. Who knows? Etziri, who's in one of those teasers, the Queen of the Vaal, that would be an awesome boss to have, a pinnacle boss. Another addition to Path of Exile 2. Endgame, definitely coming, obviously. And we'll see. Hopefully they've been cooking and that 04 is going to deliver on the end game. And then, if they can get the end game in a good state, I think we're setting or Grinding Gear Games is setting the foundation to get to 1.0 and out of early access. And I'll go in that a little bit later. League mechanic. Okay. League mechanic. A lot of speculation. Now, there was a data mine which was pointing to Delve. And now that we've gotten this teaser and Etziri has come into the picture, a lot of people are pointing to like incursion as a mechanic. I'm just going to show you a little thing about incursion, and I have to say it's not a mechanic in Path of Exile 1 that I really dived into, so I really can't speak about, but it involves Alva. It involves like these 12 areas, and you go and you link them, and again, I don't want to explain it because I can't explain it, but there you go. These are the rooms. Depending on where you go and which doors you unlock, it links them, and then at the end there's the big room and there's big drops. And you guys, if I'm saying anything wrong, correct me, but this is the incursion mechanic that potentially, if it is going to be incursion, this is something obviously it is going to be reimagined for Path of Exile 2, but Incursion is a possibility. There's also the speculation that because it's a series that there could be like side areas that we get to explore. And I'm not going to go into all the speculative discussion out there, but I personally think it might be a mix. But I got to say, if I was a betting man, I'd probably put my money on Incursion. I thought it was going to be Delve through the data mine, and who knows, maybe it will be. We'll be surprised. But just because of its series in the picture here, I think it's either going to be the side mission speculation or it's going to be Incursion as the league mechanic. Either way, whatever is introduced, these league mechanics typically introduce a lot more things into the game, obviously, that tie to other mechanics in the game. So I'm very excited to see on the live reveal what it's going to be, and we'll get confirmation on exactly what new mechanic we're going to get. I also like to say that I'm pretty well damn sure that in early access, we are not going to see anything new, PoE 2 new, like not even a little bit tied to Path of Exile 1. I don't think we're going to see anything like that in early access. I think we're going to start seeing brand new content, brand new mechanics, like not PoE 1-ish, not until after we get into 1.0. So it is definitely, in my humble opinion, going to be a mechanic that was in Path of Exile 1, just redone and reimagined and brand new for PoE 2. So I think Incursion Delve, or like a side mechanic, which has also been in Path of Exile 1. But I'm leaning towards Incursion. Let me know what you guys think. Okay, so campaign. This is where things are also getting really juicy with speculation because of Atsiri and her connection with Doriani and the whole Vaal corruption. And you guys correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not a lore guy. But the bottom line is, for the people that really know the lore in the game, they have been saying that this potentially opens the door for us getting new acts in 0.4. Now, if this is true, this will be a huge indication, a huge sign that Grinding Gear Games is slowly feeling more comfortable of getting out of early access and going to 1.0. And again, I'm going to show you my timeline later on in the video. But I got to say, I've been thinking about this a little bit, and it's a guess. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't think we're going to get Acts 5 and 6. They are not going to do, I'm pretty sure, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure Jonathan has already stated they're not going to introduce Act 5 in one patch and then Act 6 in another patch. Act 6 is half the length of the previous acts, so it's not a big act. So they are going to do 5 and 6 together. At least that's how I remember things through the communication with GGG. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think we're going to get Acts 5 and 6. I think that's going to come in 0.5. I have to say, though, I am hoping that they do give us Acts 5 and 6. It does tie to the story and the speculation out there with Doriani and Atsiri. Again, I don't know the lore, but from what I've investigated and doing my due diligence for this video, it sounds like there is an avenue for them to drop Acts 5 and 6. So we'll wait and see. If I was a betting man, I don't think we're going to get it in 0.4. We're going to get it in 0.5. Let me know what you guys think. Crafting. Now, obviously, anytime we get a new league mechanic, the league mechanic will add to the crafting. And there's a lot of speculation out there because, again, Atsiri, the four-titty woman, that even potentially we might get some Vaal skill gems, right? So all these things, the league mechanic, potential speculation of Vaal skill gems coming, these are all things that obviously intertwine with crafting. Plus, Abyss is going core. Now, it's not going to be as predominant as it was in the Rise of the Abyssal League, but it is there. And I would imagine, hopefully, if they do put the Abyss in the Atlas tree where you can kind of focus on the Abyss mechanic, these are things that are constantly adding and intertwined with crafting. Now, I do want to say in 0.4, I, in my humble opinion, right now, and a lot of that was because of the Abyss mechanic. I hope there are really easy ways to get what you want when it comes to crafting all the mods on an item or a weapon. And it did really, really put crafting in a more deterministic outcome. And if that's going to be the case, then I hope they kind of bring it back a little bit. I know I'm being a little hypocritical here. I've always been complaining when 0.1 0.2 came out that it's like too much of a casino, too much of a gamble. They need to make it more deterministic, but I think they went a little bit, they overshot. So I hope whatever they do, they just bring it back a little bit and add some variety and RNG to the crafting, because it is a little bit overkill. At least it was in 0.3, but we'll see what happens. But I think crafting is in a good state. I think it's just a matter of fine tuning and getting it in that perfect spot. So we'll see what happens with 0.4. Okay, class rebalance. Not going to go deep into this, but we already know GGG has said over and over they are not going to do buffs or nerfs mid-league. So obviously, if they're not going to do the mid-league, then the only time they're going to do class rebalance is obviously in between leagues. So expect buffs and nerfs. Obviously, you guys know, I don't need to tell you, the Ranger, the Blood Mage, Lightning, Arc, all these things. I think the Ranger is going to get castrated. Unfortunately, it's one of my favorite builds, but we'll see what happens. But for sure, the live reveal, they're going to talk about all the buffs and nerfs. And if they're going to do a buff, hopefully the Sorceress gets some love. Now, I do want to say all the classes in the game can finish the content. So I'm not stating that, but the Sorceress is definitely lagging behind, if you know what I mean. But we'll see what happens. Definitely 100% buffs and nerfs coming in the live reveal, and we'll see what they're going to be. Okay, class ascendancies. So we know each class is going to have 3 of them. Right now, all the classes that are in Path of Exile 2 each have 2 in them, and they're outlined here. Will we get a 3rd ascendancy for any of the 7 classes that are in the game now? The Warrior, Ranger, Huntress, Sorceress, Mercenary, Monk, and Witch. Are any of them going to get their 3rd? I am hoping a couple do, to be honest with you. And one of them being the Sorceress. It's my favorite class. And although Stormweaver and Chronomancer can, finish the content in the game, it would be nice for some of these classes to get a 3rd ascendancy. So I'm hoping that they start to sprinkle in the 3rd ascendancy on some of these classes. Not all of them, obviously. There's a lot that goes behind that. And you know what? I'm not really confident that any of these guys are going to get a 3rd ascendancy because they are introducing the Druid class. But that also brings up the question, do you guys feel that we potentially might get another new class on top of the Druid class? Let me know your thoughts. I don't think so, but who knows? Okay, up next is Trials. So we know there's going to be 3 in the game, and currently there's 2. Trials of the Chaos and Trials of the Secamus, or how I like to call it, Trials of Suck My Ass. I don't like any of these 2. I don't think a lot of the player base like it. So are we going to get the 3rd Trial of Ascendancy in the game? I am going to speculate that yes, we are going to get the 3rd Ascendancy in the game. And my only rationale behind that is nobody likes the first two that are in there. There's a lot of complaining going on about the trials. And some are legit and some are just, people like me complaining. But I do think we're going to get the third trial of Ascendancy. And it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out, how it is going to be taken from the players, and is it going to change the mentality of how we ascend our classes. So I say yes. Again, it's a guess. It's based on nothing but just a guess. I haven't seen, read, or heard anything that can sway me in any other direction. It's just me guessing here. But it's more about hope than anything else, just because I personally do not like either the Trials of Chaos or the Trials of Secamus. So hopefully we get a third one in, and it'll be a lot better and nicer than than the two that are in the game. But only time will tell. Let me know what you guys think. This is kind of fallen by the wayside, but I wanted to continue to talk about the performance issues that continue to be in Path of Exile 2. Now, yes, I completely understand Grinding Gear Games has continued in every patch, every update, every chance they get, they're working on improving the performance. But even to this day, we still continue to get performance-related issues from not only PC players, but obviously console players. So it really is unbelievable that in 2025, we have a game that just takes so much to run and is providing all these performance issues, not only on PC, but also on console. So I hope they make better steps forward in this area. I really hope in 0.4 they optimize the game and make it run more efficient on console and PC. Okay, now that's all fine and dandy, but I wanted to talk about key indicators. Again, I have been doing what you see up here. This is potential league timeframes. I've been doing this since 0.1, and I have to say, I've been pretty bang on, but I did make my very first mistake. I was saying that 0.4 was going to go live on December 4th. Clearly, it's not. It's going live on December 12th. So I had a 50-50 chance, and I lost. So that's probably my first big mistake or prediction that I've made that hasn't been bang on. But I will say, as you can see here, 04 is now coming on December 12th. 05 is sometime in April. Now, I predicted an August full release of PoE 2. And you got to remember, Jonathan has said in the Destiny interview, he wants to get the game in a good place before they will even consider getting out of early access. And to him, a good place is everybody's kind of happy. And they've had 2 patches that have been well received. So we could argue 0.3 was well received. Now, if 0.4 is well received, well, now we go from a red light, we go to a yellow light. And that gives GGG, if 0.4 delivers, they get the end game fixed and improved, and people are liking it. That now opens the door for Jonathan and team to say, when are we going to go out of 0.1? Now, the reason why I bring up this timeline is if they do add more things into 0.4 than initially communicated to us. Remember, like I said at the beginning of this video, we always thought 0.4 was the Endgame patch and we were going to get to Druid. Now, that is true. I hope that's going to be true. But now there's speculation of us potentially maybe getting Acts 5 and 6. Maybe us getting more than just a Druid class. I don't think so, but who knows? These are going to be, in my humble opinion, key indicators on where Grinding Gear Games headspace is at. If they feel that, hey guys, if 0.4 hits, then we can get out of early access. So to me, if they do add all these extra things that people are speculating, I think it's a good sign that Grinding Gear Games is thinking we're close to getting out of early access. And that's all I wanted to say about this topic. I'm very interested to see the live reveal on the 4th. And if we get all these extra additions, Act 5 and 6, more than one new class, trials, more ascendancies, to me, these are key indicators that Grinding Gear Games knows they're close to getting out of early access, in my humble opinion. Okay, everyone, that'll do it. That is my kind of packaged up, tied with a bow thing before we get the live reveal on 04. Let me know if I missed anything critical that you think, what are you, an idiot, Sammy? Like, why didn't you talk about this? They got to put this in 0.4. What are you smoking? You're out to lunch? Let me know in the comment section. I read them all and I try to answer as many as I can. So get in there and let me know if there's anything critical that you guys think that I missed. And also, what is your opinion on what 0.4? Is it just going to, well, not just. Endgame rework is a big one. They got to hit a home run on that one. They got to deliver on the endgame because it's a mess right now. The Druid class is going to be the Druid class. Apparently, it's a lot of people. From what we're hearing, it's going to be a really good class. So we'll wait and see. But outside of that, let me know if you guys want something in 0.4 that I didn't cover and that you want to discuss. Get in there and let me know. And as always, if you can like, comment, and subscribe on my content, I would appreciate the support. We'll hope to see you next time, everyone. Take care. The opinions expressed in this video are mine and solely mine. Healthy debate is always encouraged. Hate is never welcomed. So get over it.